Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is ReadingBear and I hope you are ready for some more stories. And today, we'll take a look at some new entitled people content. If you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comment. And now, let's dive right into the stories.
The first story is titled Lady Tries to Make Mishap for Her. So let me start by saying my last post on this sub got pretty popular, and so I decided to share another incident that happened to me. So this happened when I was 15, so even younger than before. I was with my mom in a Walmart and we were at checkout. I was wearing a blue shirt with Sonic on it. It's cringe, however it is important to the story. So as I said, I was in checkout and we are at the back of the line. These two ladies come behind us and one of them is carrying everything, no bags or cart, just carrying all these items. She drops a couple of items and I picked them up for her. The lady thanked me, but the lady who was with her got angry at me all of a sudden. My mom just kinda says hey, loudly, and that seemed to scare her off. I hear them behind us and the nice woman is telling the rude one how heavy the items are and if she can hold them for a bit. So the lady agrees and holds them for a couple of seconds before she taps my shoulder. Me and my mom thought she was gonna apologize, however she said, "Hey, carry these." I was surprised as she drops like 17 items into my arms. At this point, my mom is mad at the lady and asks why she wanted me to carry her items. She says, well, there's no reason for him to get paid if he isn't gonna work. I was even more confused until I realized I'm wearing a blue shirt. Had she confused me for an employee? Me and my mom both said I don't work here, and the nice lady started laughing at the rude one. The rude lady looks pissed and said, I don't care, now go get me these. She threw a list at me and wanted me to shop for her. My mom is very angry at this point and just ignores them and tells me to do the same. It was our turn in line now and we bought our items and got out of there. I did not go to Walmart with my parents for months after that. The next story is titled Helping the OK Department of Public Safety. This happened this morning. I am a 69-year-old white male that spent 15 years in federal service, 10 in Congress as appropriation staff. So I understand bureaucracy. Here is a hilarious thing that should give all of you a good laugh. I am married to a wonderful Chinese woman. I am repeatedly told I overmarried. She and I were standing in line this morning at the OKDMV office to get her learner's permit to drive. Get up at 5 a.m. and still have 70 people ahead of us. We are waiting for them to text us to tell us to come back. As we were in line, the young man from Afghanistan and his sponsor were behind us. The DPS lady tells him no more driving tests today. He has his permit. She tells him he cannot get on a list tomorrow and appointments are 2 months out. I tell him, give me your cell and I will send you a text of where you can go get tested right away, with an appointment. Understand we were next to go in. The DMV woman is very angry. She asks if I am with our department. I tell her no twice. Thus the I don't work here lady. I love this sub. She says, wait here. I tell the sponsor, you had better give me your number before she prevents me from giving it to you. He did. I sent your contact card from my phone. I told him the driver's school where my wife went charges a fee to do the driver's test, but it is a whole lot better than what you are experiencing right now. So the lady comes back with her supervisor. I have seen him many times. This man is telling this man that he can go get his driving test somewhere else. The supervisor looks a little annoyed. Where did you send them? Name of big family-owned driving school in OKC. The supervisor says, that is legitimate as long as they do not mind paying a fee. He looked at her annoyed and went in. Magically she reopened our door. That had nearly drained the queues for appointments inside, so we got our wait number and my wife is at work, waiting for the text. I told the man, tell them Op sent you. No, I do not get a commission. My 15 years with the government taught me the joy of bypassing bureaucracy. Hilarious, the woman tried to get me in trouble for helping you and helping them reduce their workload since they are overworked. The next story is titled Lady Threatens to Sue Me Because I Can't Pay for Her Food. Okay, so let me start by saying I was still young when this happened. I was only 16. I might make spelling mistakes because it is really hard to type on this phone. So I had just finished having lunch with my friends at my local Burger King. I usually order my food and go home to eat it, but I stayed because I was with my friends. I promised my 8-year-old brother I would buy him something like fries or chicken nuggets as a treat since I'm going out. So I finish eating with my friends and I got to make another order. I decide to get both chicken nuggets and fries so my siblings could both have something. As I am waiting for the person in front of me to order, I see a lady walk in with a child. The lady gets behind me in line and the person in front finishes. I was about to talk when the lady pushes me out of the way and says, "Go to the back and make my order." I don't know why she thought I worked there. I had normal clothes on and not the usual uniforms. I looked over and as I was about to speak she went, "Hurry up," and mumbled how stupid the employees are. At this point, the person taking my order knew I did not work there and told the lady. The lady started yelling at me for looking like someone who would work there and proceeded to threaten to sue me and tell me I have to pay for her food since I caused problems. I just ignored her at this point, ordered my food and got the heck out of there. My friends were waiting outside and when I told them why I took so long they got a laugh out of it. The worker told me this lady causes problems a lot and even offered to pay for my food and I politely declined. The next story is entitled Dad Impatiently Demands Parking Spot Gets Instant Karma. I remembered this story a few years back while going on a job interview in a popular downtown area. I saw a similar story like this and felt this belongs here. So just to preface, this is a very busy downtown area and parking is far and few. I happened to find a prime parking spot on arguably the busiest street in that area. I was walking back from an interview and just as I go to open my car door to get in, a very flustered middle-aged man pulls around the corner with what I'm assuming are his kids and the interaction goes as such. Ed, entitled Dad, are you going to be moving soon? Me. Yes, I'm just about to leave now. You're welcome to spot. Ed, can you get a move on, my kids are going to be late? Me, shocked at how rude he was. Sir, it will just be a moment as I need to plug in directions. Ed, that's not my problem. You can pull over in the next street and do that since you move like a sloth. At this point I don't engage further because this idiot is not worth getting angry over, so I take my sweet time plugging in my GPS to get home while he's yelling incoherent phrases at my window. And the most delicious part of this whole story is when I pull off, a drunk Karen whips around the corner, hits a car, and a cop who was closely behind angrily directs her to that spot before the guy could even pull in and he loses it. I'm driving away at this point and look back at the cop dealing with these two losers while I'm laughing all the way home, thinking about if this guy wasn't such an entitled jerk he'd probably have that spot. The next story is titled, I Don't Work Here Lady, Receiving End. I am short and thanks to an injury can no longer climb shelves to get what I need used to climb like a monkey. My husband and I split up to get the list done faster. After several items I go down on aisle and the item I want is near the top just below overstock. Handout starched, I can't even touch the shelf, just EDGR of the one below it. I look around trying to figure out where my tall husband was or spot an employee. Coming down the aisle is a man about my husband's height and my foot was killing me, and I did not have to walk on it much more, so as he draws level with me I go, "Excuse me." He cuts me off with an, "I don't work here lady." I say, "I know, I was just hoping you would be kind enough to grab that," point to item, for height challenged me. He grabbed it for me and I thanked them and I limped off to my next item, which was luckily short people friendly. The next story is titled Lady Insists I Go Her Grocery Shopping for Her. I literally just made this account today, to post the story, because my wife keeps insisting I should share it with you guys. Note: I'm not so familiar with the app. So this story took place the day before yesterday. I had a horrible morning, as I got fired from my job, due to our team being overstaffed, so I wasn't in the mood for Karens that day. Anyway, I head home, and tell my wife about everything. She comforted me. After a while, I went to the grocery store to pick up some items for dinner and buy some ice cream, because that's my comfort food lol. I was standing in the snacks aisle, browsing for brownies, when a lady came full speed at me, then shoved her grocery list onto my chest, while demanding that I go get her the items on the list. I was confused. She gave a weird stare and asked, "What are you waiting for? Go get 'em." I tried explaining that I didn't work there, but she didn't let me get through half of the sentence. She cut me off twice saying that she is tired, or she'll pay me. Now I was wearing similar clothes to employees there, green shirts and dark blue, black pants, but I had a scarf on that covered the part of my shirt, where the logo of the store is supposed to be located. Anyhow, this lady didn't seem to listen, so I let my frustrations out and I yelled at her saying, "I don't work here lady." Understandably she was shocked. An employee came over and asked what happened. I explained everything, and the employee told the woman that I don't work there, and that he can help her instead. At this point something seemed to click in her mind, because her face went from confused to very apologetic. She started apologizing so much. But I was still angry. I ripped her list apart and threw it in her face. I left to continue shopping. Fast forward to me loading my groceries in the car. She approached me, and handed me a bar of chocolate, and apologized again. I felt bad for what I did, so I apologized as well. She explained that her day was hard, not only work, but some court issues as well. We talked for a bit, then each went their way. Yesterday I found out that she was my neighbor. I just moved in recently, and today she baked me and my wife a cake as an extra apology, and honestly it was tasty for a Karen's cake. The next story is titled In My Purely Professional Opinion, of course. It's a pretty short story, but I thought y'all might get a laugh out of it. A little background first. I was working part-time as an optician at the World Vision Center. My job was selling eyeglasses and fitting them to faces. I'm not sure why, but we were required to wear white lab coats while working. As were the pharmacy staff and the guys working at the photo center, now that I think of it, but that doesn't matter to the story. Anyway, I was dressed in my white lab coat and I had clocked out for the day. My wife had asked me to pick up eggs on the way home, so I was standing in a checkout line, a carton of eggs in my hand, waiting my turn behind an obviously drunk pair of ladies. One of them points me out to the other, who walks up to me and demands to know what would I call this thing on her chest. She then pulls her elastic tube top out about a foot and points at her totally exposed left breast. Being a nice guy, I take a moment to study the matter and then reply, well, it's just my opinion of course, but I'd say it's a nipple. She stares at me while her girlfriend cracks up and says, no, a-hole, the rash. What is it and what should I put on it? I explained that I'm neither a pharmacist nor a pharmacy technician and that I worked in the vision center. She just stared at me, blurrily, and then put her boobs away and started yelling for a manager and cops. I didn't get into any trouble, of course, but the privilege of listening to her try to explain to a policeman as to how I sexually assaulted her by not stopping her from exposing herself in public would have made it worthwhile either way. The next story is titled My Uniform Doesn't Even Match the Store. For some background, I work at a blue pet store in the same plaza as a well-known shopping center with a big red circle for a logo. My store closes about an hour earlier than the red store, so sometimes after work I'll pop over there to grab last-minute things like drinks and snack, maybe browse for a new shirt. Because the store I work at closes so closely to when this store does, usually by the time I wrap up my closing duties at work I only have half an hour to get down to the red store, find what I want, and check out before their store also closes for the night. Obviously this leaves me no time to change out of my work uniform of a blue polo and khaki pants before I go to another store. I should also note that I'm partially hard of hearing, and I frequently have to ask people to repeat themselves or speak up since I don't hear them very clearly the first time. On to the actual story. So one night after work, I needed to swing by the red store to pick up some hair dye and figured after I grabbed that I'd take a look at some of their clearance shirts. I walked past one lady who recognized me from the blue pet store I had just come from and she asked if I knew my way around this store too. I said sort of, helped her find the clothing section she was looking for, and went back to my shopping. I had finally gotten to the clearance section in the women's clothing when this lady behind me loudly says, miss, excuse me, and I turn around and see this scowling woman pushing a full cart in my direction. You left this in the middle of the walkway. How are people supposed to get where they need to go? Anyways, I need help finding something. I paused and put on my customer service, talking to people I don't know, voice. I pushed the cart back towards her and said, oh sorry, I think you have the wrong person. I didn't have a cart with me, and I actually don't work here. The lady says something but I couldn't hear her so I leaned forward and asked her if she could say it again. I figured that if it was an easy to identify item, I could at least point her to the general section of the store where that might be located. She huffs and walks around the cart to get in my face to speak again. Look, I have places to be, I don't have time for this. First you leave your junk in my way, then you act stupid and waste my time. You retail workers are so entitled these days, you have no respect for your customers anymore. I already told you what I need help with, just tell me where, thing, is and I won't get your manager involved. I was backed into rack of clothes and, being tired from my shift at my actual place of employment I kind of snapped and said, respectfully, ma'am, I don't work here. I don't know what you're looking for and I'm just trying to do my own shopping. I can help you find someone who does work here, but if that's the attitude you're gonna have, that's all I'm gonna do. She starts going off about how unhelpful I am and that they need to reprimand me for my behavior, But thankfully I was able to cut her off and point out Blue Pet Store's logo that was clearly on the front of my shirt and explain that I just got off work and I was shopping too. She looked dumbfounded that not all people in polo shirts and khakis are employees for every store they go into. Eventually our argument got the attention of a couple Red Store employees who were able to defuse the situation, and they were super nice about everything. One of them walked her away to show her where the thing she needed was, and the other two stayed with me to get my side of the story. Again, they were super nice and very sweet about the whole interaction, and even offered to walk with me to the registers in case she came back. Bless them. It was a really long day for me and I can't imagine how many rude people they'd already had to deal with that day. I decided to skip looking for shirts and just went and bought my hair dye so I could go home already. I still don't understand how seeing someone in a bright blue shirt carrying a box of hair dye meant to her that I was an employee of a store where every employee wears red. The next story is titled "Just Because I'm Wearing Red Does Not Mean I Work for Target." So when I used to work for Cinemark, our uniform was a black t-shirt with red on the back, and for people who aren't minors they have red lanyards. I was early for work so I went to my nearest Target. I walk in, and get asked where a certain item is. I look at this customer, in my work uniform that clearly states, Cinemark, on it and not Target. So I smile. Sorry, I don't work here. I explain and they were super nice about it. Then a few minutes after that, one of Target's managers stopped me. You're supposed to be working. She tells me, to me very confused, that she can't see Cinemark plastered everywhere on my uniform. I simply state, no, I work at Cinemark. I don't think you know me as an employer but as a recurring costumer. Or at least I tried to say that. I go to that Target a lot but never went back in my uniform after that. The next story is titled "I Don't Sell Cars in My Simpsons Shirt." This sub made me think of something that happened when I was like 16. I was at the biggest car show in the Netherlands and I was looking at all the cars, because I've always been fascinated by cars. We walked to the Audi stand and there is a very nice car. I think something like an A7 or something. This car has one of the best features I've ever seen in a car. A button to close the boot. Keep in mind that this was like 10 years ago, so that was still pretty new. Of course I need to try this feature and I close the boot. Then a man walks up to me and asks me what the starting price of the car is. Keep in mind, I was 16 and wearing a Simpsons t-shirt, nothing that a representative from a brand like Audi would wear. I said I have no clue and I just walk away quickly, too awkward to explain the situation to him. We quickly went on to the next brand because I wanted to avoid the further awkwardness. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel and post some bear emojis.